Paw?
Doors open.
Doors open. Roll call?
Paw,
Here.
Miller,
Here.
Rancid, Jackson.
Approve minutes from July 9th, 2018 meeting.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from July 9th.
I second it. It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from the July 9th, 2018 meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No. Motion is carried. Public comment. Donna Tronka.
Just a request that you update the website to include the new airport commission members. It's still got David Dunn on there.
Okay. I'll talk to Bill when I see him again.
Bill got attacked by bees.
Nice.
Reports, treasurer. General fund, $84,036.20. Tax account, $12,056.69. LGIP general, $104,727.25. LGIP fire EMS, $2.62. Airport, $49,052.59. LGIP airport, 55 cents. CenturyLink telephone, $130.93, which is auto pay. We Energies Town Hall, $62.07, auto pay. We Energies lights, $34.05, auto pay. Badgerland disposal, $8,461.71. Daily Jefferson Union for absentee ballots notice, $34.63. Lang Enterprises 911 number W1394 and post, $73.12. Vendor Levi Larson, Town Needle, $1,360.50. Jonathan Hooper Cemetery, $500. Jefferson County Highway Department, Marsh Road Culvert Repair, $406.79. Northwest Services, Sweep Roads, $950. Larry Paul August Salary, $369.40. William May August Salary and Office Expense, $631.08. Peggy Miller August Salary, Deputy Treasurer, $577.19.
The only thing we have to call the county or whatever for that Lang Enterprises, because that's not our fire number.
It's the other one that wasn't.
No, this one isn't. The other one was for Stacy Griffith.
The West 39.
It was the north, or south, north 573.
Okay, then I wrote down the wrong one.
Okay. This one was for the town of Sullivan, and it got sent to us by mistake.
This isn't our $34?
Well,
That one is,
part of
but
it
there was
is.
No,
another
no,
one.
not 34, it was signed. Okay, 7312.
The sign that he's referring to is
This-
$43.24.
We got this signed by mistake, this
Oh,
number.
okay, all right.
We don't have that number. It was on CI, and that's a Sullivan number.
Is there a motion to approve the treasurer's report?
I'll make a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
I second. It's been moved and seconded to approve the treasurer's report. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No. Motion's carried. Fire department? I guess Winona Bradson's not here.
Nothing to announce.
You doing it?
Yep.
What?
No fires to announce.
Okay.
Airport?
No report.
Blue Spring Lake District?
I have Scott Bigeman looking into raising that drain across from Gary Kincaid's, I don't know the number. See if we can raise that bubble drain up so it doesn't get plugged up so easily. But I haven't heard back from him yet.
Building inspector?
Nothing.
Highway?
Nothing really to report. We are looking into the brine treatment, as we just discussed with them, but don't really have anything on that yet. We'll know more on it by next meeting.
Is there going to be a highway commission meeting before next? Do you have any schedule?
I don't have one scheduled yet. I could any time now because we got the work pretty much all cleaned up.
Okay.
Also, we're looking at, the county is gonna do some ditching on Tamarack Road. He gave me a price of $1,000 minimum, it might be $2,000, but he thought it probably go around $1,000. And that would be by Dan's Auto Repair, dig out the ditch.
Take out the ditch, okay. Is that it for highway?
Yep.
Correspondence? Do you have any correspondence?
I couldn't find his phone.
Okay. Correspondence will be
He
next.
just called me.
Correspondence will be next month. Okay. New business. Discussion and possible action to apply for a DNR grant to mitigate dead ash trees in town right-of-ways. Presented by Mike Vant of M&E Tree Service, also including a resolution by the board to do the application for the grant.
We have 89 trees between Island Drive and Marsh Road. They vary anywhere from 6 inches to 25 inches in diameter. We have 28 in the 6 to 10 inch diameter, 10 to 12 in the 10 to 12 inch diameter. We have 45. We have 12 to 18 inch diameter, 7, and 18 to 25. We have 9. What we're looking to do is the urban forestry grant, the startup grant. The max that they'll give us is a matching fund of $5,000 to $5,000. In that window, we'll be able to remove these trees, which are dead, and we're going to have issues with them. And they'll match us funds half, but we'll also in that be able to replant and repopulate these roads with trees that will repopulate these areas so the wind doesn't blow across. So really at the end of the day, the town's going to pay half for something that we're going to get all this work done for that with the DNR Urban Forestry Startup Grant. So we have to take it right to the state, and the two components of it are, one, we're removing the trees, because if we don't, they're gonna be a storm damage hazard. We'll pay twice as much if we take and leave it go. Now we do it in storm and emergency, we're gonna pay a lot more to remove these trees. So we'll utilize that money from the state and what the town puts in as a match to remove the trees and to replant them so we have decent trees that'll repopulate these stretches of road. And it's a two-part thing with the DNR. They want to see that either you're going to do that where you're going to repopulate the trees and remove them, or you're going to remove the trees and educate the public on what's going on. Emerald ash borer killed them. We know that they're gone. You know, they've been dead for over a year. We're going in our 2nd to 3rd year, and they're going to really start becoming storm prone as time goes on. So if we can get this grant in place and get it moving forward, now in the winter time, we can take these trees, remove them, be done with them. We don't have to worry about an ice storm. Then come April to May, we can start looking into replanting and repopulating these trees according to where they are. You know, if it's really wet, let's put species that'll do well and help soak up some storm water in these areas where we lost that, and let's fit the trees that are the most hardy for these ditches. So in the future, we can look at these two roads that if you go down Marsh Road or Island Drive are just burnt. It looks like they got hit by a fire because all these poor ash trees died. Now we can take and have it 10, 15 years from now, nicer trees that are going to be less storm prone for us and not have the issue of them. Because otherwise, if we don't, and we're going to have, next summer is going to be pretty bad on storm damage, and also if we have ice storms, we're going to have issues with them. So if the DNR is willing to allow us to get this grant money and match it, I think we can do real well in removing pretty much all of them. And I would say 89 is what I counted, but I'm going to say we're going to probably be closer to 100. But on my end of it, it doesn't matter if it's 89 or 100. Let's just do them all and get them done. Whether, you know, let's use the money that we have in our company. If we get to a point where we've expended the money that the DNR is given, I'm willing to take and donate the replanting trees. So it'll be, you know, bare rootstock, whatever, over 10,000. I'll donate that through my company to the town, because I'd like to see this project be able to go to fruition. And so what, if we have to donate some trees, I'm more than willing to do that on my end through our company and make sure that we can take and repopulate these areas if it goes beyond our grant money. So that's what we're looking to do, and we've been working with the DNR Urban Forestry Coordinator, Ed Miller, and I as we move forward to try and apply for this grant. So That's it in a nutshell, really.
You're not planting more ash trees, are you?
Heck no. No ash, no elm, there won't be any maple either.
That would
Because,
be
yeah,
job security.
yeah, right, you know, but, and even maple too, they won't pay for maple. In this grant, maple is a species that we already have way more than enough here in Wisconsin. So as we do it, we'll try and diversify what we have so that if we repopulate these areas that we don't have 89 of the same tree, because if we put the same tree, we got the same problem again. We'll diversify our forests to what's most hardy, because we won't have this issue again another 30 years from now. Someone won't have this issue that we leave behind for them. So that's the plan with it moving forward.
Okay, I'm gonna read the resolution. We have to add the resolution number, and I think it's 2018-3, but I'm not sure. We'll have to check with Bill.
That'll be a tentative number.
Tentative number, yeah. Whereas the applicant, Town of Palmyra, is interested in obtaining a cost share grant from Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources for the purpose of funding urban and community forest projects or urban forestry catastrophic storm projects specified in statute 23.097, parent 1G, and parent 1R, Wisconsin statutes. Whereas the applicant attests to the validity and veracity of the statements and representations contained in the grant application, and whereas the applicant requests a grant agreement to carry out the project. Now therefore be it resolved, the applicant, Town of Palmyra, will comply with all local, state, and federal rules, regulations, and ordinances relating to this project and the cost share agreement. Be it further resolved, the applicant will budget a sum sufficient to fully and satisfactorily complete the project, and hereby authorizes and empowers the Palmyra Town Road Superintendent, its official, to act on its behalf, to sign and submit the grant application, sign a grant agreement between applicant and the DNR, submit interim and/or final reports to the DNR to satisfy the grant agreement, submit grant reimbursement requests to the DNR, and sign and submit other required documentation. Adopted this 13th day of August 2018. I hereby certify that the foregoing resolution was duly adopted at Town of Palmyra at a legal meeting on the 13th day of August 2018, and you have to sign it.
You send in all the reports?
That's, yeah, I'll take it, anything we do, I'll fill out the reports and then send them in on town's behalf between Ed and I. So then, as we move forward, we'll be able to send it all off and make sure the numbers fall into the DNR. Because we have to furnish all costs to them, and then they take and reimburse us after we furnish that. So, yeah, I'll submit whatever costs and we need to do on that end for reporting.
And I'll make a motion to pass this resolution.
I'll second it. It's been moved and seconded to pass this resolution authorizing to apply for a grant for tree removal of ash trees. The tentative number of the resolution is 2018-3. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No. Motion is carried.
Should that have been a voice vote, even though it was?
You want a roll call?
Resolution. Roll call vote.
Hawk,
Yes. Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Discussion and possible action to amend the budget as follows. Reduce, funding. Discussion and
discuss
pass on.
the highway,
This, that one?
the highway
I'm
resolution,
doing that.
not the budget.
No. Discussion and possible action to approve a resolution for highway funding through the Towns Association.
Want me to read this one too?
How long is it? Read it.
Whereas Town of Palmyra Transportation Resolution 2018-02, so I'm sure that one will be able to read. Whereas local government in Wisconsin is responsible for 90% of the road miles in the state. That's a mistake. Should be percent, not about 90 miles. Whereas Wisconsin's diverse economy is dependent upon county and town roads, as well as city and village streets and transit systems across the state. And whereas the town of Palmyra and other local governments across Wisconsin have been highlighting our unmet transportation needs in many different avenues, including events such as the historic Turnout for Transportation event in September of 2016, where local governments in every region of the state held simultaneous meetings calling on the state legislature to prioritize transportation and pass a sustainable funding package. And whereas while the increase in transportation funding for locals in the last budget was certainly appreciated, many still aren't back to the 2011 levels when you adjust for inflation. And whereas local governments continue to struggle to meet even the most basic maintenance needs for our transportation system. And whereas states surrounding Wisconsin and across the country have stepped up with sustainable funding plans for their state and local roads. And whereas Wisconsin will be at a competitive disadvantage if it does not implement a revenue and spending plan that addresses both our interstates that were built in the 50s and 60s and our local and state roads. And whereas levy limits do not allow local government to make up for the deterioration of state funding, and whereas local governments would not be forced to turn to local wheel taxes or increased borrowing or exceeding their levy limits if the state would finally pass a sustainable funding plan for transportation. And whereas the town of Palmyra recognizes that our state highway and interstate system is the backbone of our surface transportation system and plays a vital role in the economy of Wisconsin, and that both local and state roads need to be properly maintained in order for our economy to grow. And whereas, from a competitive standpoint, Wisconsin motorists pay significantly less than any of our neighbors when you combine the annual cost of the state gas tax and vehicle registration fees. Now therefore be it resolved by the town of Palmyra to urge the governor and legislature to just fix it and agree upon a long-term sustainable solution that includes a responsible level of bonding and adjusts our user fees to adequately fund Wisconsin's transportation system. Furthermore, the town board directs the clerk to send a copy of this resolution to our state legislators, and to Governor Scott Walker. And that calls for a voice, roll call vote too.
You want to have a motion?
I'll make a motion to pass this resolution.
I'll second it. It's been moved to pass the resolution for a highway funding application or pleading through the Towns Association. Correct?
Yeah.
Roll call vote. Cog,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. That will be resolution 2018-2.
Dash 02, yes.
Okay, -02. 2018-02. Discuss and possible action to amend the budget as follows. Reduce election expense account 51400-2 by 700 to 5300. Increase auditor account number 51500-1 by 200, 6100. Increase miles reimburse account number 51980-1 by 40 to 540.
I make a motion to pass that.
It's been moved and seconded to pass this amendment.
Second.
Pardon? I second it.
Okay.
Thank you. Been moved and seconded to amend the budget as I just read. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No. Motion is carried. Discuss and possible action to approve renewal of bartender's license for Denise White, Donald Weber, and Danielle Flack. I'm assuming this is for
These are the
Rushing Waters?
yes, these are the 3 applications.
This is for the Trout House.
I'll make a motion to renew the bartender's license for Denise White down in Hunter, the Black.
I'll second it. It's been moved and seconded to approve renewal of bartender license for Denise White, Donald Weber, and Danielle Flack for the Trout House. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No. Motion carried. Discuss and possible action to approve Jefferson County zoning ordinance text amendments.
I'm not sure what you want to say on
Most of these involve shoreland zoning.
This was passed at the last meeting, and they added this number 7, maintenance, repair, replacement of illegal structures. A structure that was illegally constructed and is older than 10 years may be maintained, repaired, replaced, restored, rebuilt, or remodeled if the activity does not expand the footprint of the structure vertically or laterally. I'll make a motion to pass it.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the Jefferson County.
You got a second it.
I second it. Not used to doing that. No one else usually here. Discuss and possible action to approve Jefferson County zoning ordinance text amendments. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No. Motion is carried. Presentation by Ron Schneider, DNR Co-op Fire Ranger for Southern Wisconsin, who will give a presentation and answer questions regarding fire suppression and prevention concerns for persons living adjacent to public wildlands. Everyone is welcome and encouraged to attend and hear this very interesting talk. Is that true?
Oh, you're really talking me up there. I don't know.
You got something to live up to now.
I guess so. I thought there were a lot of people before me, so.
We don't expect to be bored now.
Your popcorn?
You're right, yeah, there should be. Maybe if we get a fire in a cornfield, now we can have popcorn tonight, but I think what I'm gonna do is borrow the shelf over here and roll it in.
Put that projector on.
Yeah, I did. I love this townhouse. It's nice and quaint.
You can turn the light off right to your left on the wall, too.
Yeah. I didn't either. So my presentation will be over in 3 hours, or when everybody falls asleep sitting here in the heat.
You'll be the only one here in 3. Lock the door when you leave.
Yeah, this will work out good. My name is Ron Schneider. I'm a cooperative fire ranger for the Wisconsin DNR, and it's nice to talk about the DNR Urban Forestry Grant. I don't deal with the Urban Forestry Grant, but I do deal with firefighting grants. We offer 50-50 grant also to fire departments to buy wildland suppression equipment. With me is Nick Colts. He is also a forest ranger, working in southern Wisconsin, Janesville area, and happens to live close by.
I actually live in town and I oversee as far as private lands go. So if you have 10 or more acres, you got forest land, you want someone to come out, you'd give me a call. I serve Rock County, Jefferson County, Walworth County, and the eastern half of Dane. So.
And he takes down dead ash trees for free. Is that part of it? No. This is kind of the epicenter for emerald ash borer right now. I travel around the state quite a bit, and Walworth, Jefferson counties really got hammered here within the last year. And you really notice it now, not really this summer since all the rest of the trees leafed out, and you see that where the ash were, and now they're gone, and it's like, wow, what's going to replace these things? So, obviously, a lot of you are here, if you're here to talk about wildfires, it's because for whatever reason, we've had some forest fire issues here in southeast Wisconsin, Jefferson, Walworth counties, in the last couple of years. Ironically, right when I showed up, so I hope I'm not a suspect. And I know I see there's an officer in the room, so if I'm a suspect in some of these fires. So usually when we think of large fires, we think of the sand counties of Wisconsin. We think of the Cottonville fire, which is in Adams County. We think of the German Road fire 2013 that burned up in Douglas and Bayfield counties. Normally southeast Wisconsin, we don't have the type of fuels here, contiguous fuels of pine and sandy soils where we have large fires. But ironically, 2 of the last 3 years, the largest forest fires in Wisconsin have been in southeast Wisconsin, Rock County 2 years ago, and then of course this year we had a 252-acre fire in the Jefferson Marsh wildlife area. In addition to that, we've had a number of fires suspicious in origin on the southern Kettle Moraine State Forest that were set back earlier in the spring. And we have not seen that in the past. We have had some fires. Historically, we've had some fires set in the Jefferson Marsh wildlife area, and of course I work closely with Jefferson Fire Department, Helenville, Fort Atkinson, and Lake Mills, and to try to, the departments that will respond to those incidents. So what I'd like to talk to you today about is just to kind of give you an overview of what does the rest of the state do, what does the rest of the nation do as far as preparing your home for wildfire. If you happen to have, this is a beautiful area, you come here to live in the natural resources, right? You get away from the concrete and the steel, but you also want to live in an area where you're going to be safe. In case you do get a fire, what can you do to kind of prepare yourself, prepare your house for the inevitable in case that fire is something that's going to come close to your house. And even a step before that, what can we do to reduce fires? So I'll talk about what the rest of the state does, and then I'll probably learn a couple things here too, because the counties here in southeast Wisconsin are a little bit different than what I'm used to. So, a lot of these slides are off of our DNR website. I actually had cell coverage outside in the parking lot, but I think in here just with the roof, the one bar I had went away. So, and you guys are probably well aware of that situation, right? So
it's related to the hot air.
It's at the hot air. So the information I handed out, especially the magnets, they have our DNR website on it, the dnr.wi.gov. All of this information I'm going through, actually more of it, if you would like to do some research on it, you just type in the keyword box. If you type in wildfire, fire, forest fire, a number of things come up where you can click on and find out information. But the last thing we want to do is spend more time on computers, right? So, what is the number one hit we have in Wisconsin for people that come to our website? What do they want to know? They want to know what the fire danger is. We update every county of the 72 counties in Wisconsin. We even update the ones here in southeast. We select a fire danger appropriate for the precipitation, the fuels, and the time of year for what that fire danger is that day. The DNR updates that at 11 a.m. every day. So that's a tool that a lot of counties, a lot of police fire departments use to kind of get the word out to the public. How bad is our fire danger going to be? Are we going to let the public burn today, basically? So this is actually today. I loaded this map on here this morning, and that is our fire danger for today. So obviously, as you know, we've been blessed with a lot of precipitation here in southeast Wisconsin. It's actually the greenest grass I think I've seen in August. So it's been pretty nice for me. Nick and I don't get paid by the fire, or we don't get paid by the acre. So we don't want to see forest fires any more than you guys want to see them. So if we can stay on the low end, we do like to stay there. This information here, of course, if you would go on the website and click, take your mouse clicker and go to Walworth County or go to Jefferson County, wherever you live, click on that. It would tell you what the fire danger is for that county, and it would also bring up another box showing you any restrictions. Due to the fact that we are in a cooperative area of the state, there are no restrictions here for burning permits that the DNR is in charge of, or the DNR does. We do not do burning permits. So the state of Wisconsin, we have 3 different fire protection areas. The cranberry colored on there is the intensive area. That's mainly the part of the state that is mostly forested. And it also contains the Central Sands, which is a high fire danger area, Adams and Juneau County, and then of course the Black River State Forest running up through Black River Falls up to Maryland, close to Eau Claire. Those areas have the highest level of protection for fire. The DNR has a burning permit system in those areas where they require a burning permit any time of year that there's no snow cover. So obviously, we try to get people to do outdoor burning when there's snow on the ground, because it makes our lives a lot easier. If people burn when there's snow, there's a 0% chance of a forest fire. So those areas, if you have cabins or people that live in those areas, they always need a burning permit, and they have to follow those restrictions. The extensive areas, the yellow parts of the map, follow the lower Wisconsin State Riverway. They run up to south central Wisconsin, and they mainly contain a lot of grass areas. So grass are areas that are lowland forest. We're generally, after May 31st, when the grass turns green, we don't have any problems with fires in those areas, just like we don't have problems, knock on wood, a lot of, in this part of the state, once the grass turns green, we don't have forest fires. And then where we are here is what we call the cooperative area. And what the cooperative area means is the fire departments, the townships, they cooperate with each other to determine what they want to do for outdoor burning regulations. The DNR has no jurisdiction over outdoor burning. So it runs on a township by township level. So it's not set by the county, it's not set by the sheriff, it's not set by local municipality. It really depends on the township and your town board. Most townships, I can tell you, in southeast Wisconsin don't have any burning regulations. They usually leave it up to the fire department and the fire chief or the fire board, and the fire board will usually say, you know, if you're burning, here's my number, call me. And for a lot of districts, that works for them. They don't want to go through the process of having a written burning permit, and a lot of times small townships don't have full-time staff to do that anyway. You know, they're volunteer departments. They don't have someone that can run around their township issuing burning permits to folks. So when do we have most of our forest fires? Most of the public thinks most of our forest fires in Wisconsin occur in August. Because if you turn on your TV tonight at 6:03, I guarantee the picture on the screen was California on fire. And that's what people see. So a lot of that message, unfortunately, from the western fire situation carries back to Wisconsin because of our media. Where actually, no, it's not true. Most of our forest fires in Wisconsin occur in April. And here in southern Wisconsin, most of our forest fires occur in March and April. So anytime the snow melts, we've had forest fires on Christmas, we've had forest fires in January. Basically anytime, as soon as the snow melts or the grasses, the trees don't have leaves on them yet and the grass is brown, we can have a forest fire because the fuels don't have any moisture in them and they dry out pretty fast. Usually, if you look at that May bar on there, usually by May in this part of the state, when the grass turns green, our fire danger really drops down. So this is one big message that I like to spread to people in Wisconsin is a lot of our customers, a lot of the people that live in Wisconsin think our fire danger is actually later than it is. April is by far our busiest month. Why do we regulate debris burning or outdoor burning, whether it's a brush pile or whether it's garbage or whatever else? Debris burning right here, this is a breakdown of what causes forest fires in Wisconsin. So these are all, this is not nationwide, this is just Wisconsin data. Our number one cause for a single cause of forest fires in Wisconsin is debris burning. So that is why the DNR takes such a proactive approach on regulating outdoor burning, whether it's a leaf pile or a brush pile or burning garbage in a barrel, whatever. People burning debris is still our number one cause of forest fires. So, and you can see all the other categories here. Miscellaneous is a little bit bigger, but of course that contains a lot of things. Dump dashes, power lines, fireworks, etc. One thing that always gets people's attention is smoking. Less than 2% of our fires are caused by cigarettes, are caused by smoking. So when you're driving on the highway and you see, you always see, which makes me mad because I'm a motorcycle guy, right? And I hate when people in front of me throw their cigarettes out the window. It makes me very unhappy. But regardless of the littering and the sparks and whatever else, most cigarettes, now that they're made to be safe cigarettes, don't cause a lot of forest fires. I think back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, they did. The cigarettes were made a little bit differently. The new cigarettes now they call them safe cigarettes, not because they're not going to kill you, but because because they can't start a fire. So we in the forest fire business, we have a rule we call it the 20-20 rule, and it pretty much holds true that in order for a cigarette thrown out of a vehicle to start a forest fire, you need to have a 20-mile-an-hour wind on that cigarette, and there needs to be 20% or less relative humidity. And we have very few situations in the state where we have situations like that. Now, that's not to say, along the interstate where you have trucks driving by at 80 miles an hour, there's your 20-mile-an-hour wind, right? Because all of the wind coming off the interstate. And then if you have some of that material that lands in the ditch that faces the sun, the south aspect, you could have a microclimate there that is really dry. So we do get some cigarette-started fires, but they're blamed a lot more than they actually cause forest fires. So what can we do in our communities, to help us? I talked about burning permits. That's one thing you can do if you're starting to see a lot of fires in your district that are caused from debris burning. You can start to reduce your debris burning. Some other parts of the state where they're just in fire-prone areas. There have been fires in Wisconsin ever since European settlement. I should say ever since Native American settlement, 10, 20,000 years ago. But the fires we've been tracking since the 1870s all generally occur in the same spots. So if you track all of our large fires in Wisconsin, the Cottonville Fire 2005, the German Road Fire 2015, Crystal Lake fires down in Marquette County, everybody knows Peshtigo up here. They all kind of happen in the same place. It's in those sandy soils. Back when you had the logging area, or now it's in our pine areas. And I know that's a lot of you have your houses in pine areas, and that's why it's a little bit concerning as far as fires in this area. What the DNR does is we break the state up into what we call fire landscapes. And so we have fire landscapes for this. This is called Fire Landscape 4 and 15. The numbers don't really relate to how bad the fire danger is. They do for us, but the numbers were just arbitrarily picked. Down in our neck of the woods here, we're in Fire Landscapes 1 and 2. So it's our lowest possibility of a large catastrophic forest fire in the state of Wisconsin are in Fire Landscapes 1 and 2. Although there's always that possibility because there's fuel pockets, pine plantations, sandy outwashes from glaciation, whatever else that can cause fires. Just another example of this is off of our DNR website that shows the different levels of protection for burning permits. So I just threw these counties up there because obviously we're really close to the line here. It's basically showing that both of Jefferson and Walworth County are both in co-op, that the DNR does not have any jurisdiction over that. So there's some really good material on our website. And I'm not a big computer guy because the last thing I need is screen time. But really, the link on here does give a lot of good information. So how to keep your house like this. And not have it, burn down something like this. And we've both worked on fires where we have had damage to structures and obviously loss of structures from forest fires. It does happen in the Midwest too, not just out west. Talked about some fires from earlier in the year. A little bit concerning. This is April 30th. This is a string of fires that we picked up on the Southern Cal-Moraine State Forest. So when we have a fire, the DNR has their own fire reporting system. So whenever we have a reportable forest fire in the state, we actually do a fire report and we map that fire and we obviously follow this stuff, right? And when I was advised about these fires, and Palmyra did a great job of putting these fires out, and I think Lauderdale-LaGrange came up too, and I apologize if I'm missing another fire department.
East Troy or Town of Troy?
Oh yeah, East Troy, yeah, okay, Town of Troy Fire Department, I believe, yeah. So, I'll just be honest with you, I think these fires were set. There's no secret information. All of these fires occurred at relatively the same time. All these fires occurred in the north ditch with a lot of fuel in front of them. So, a little bit of a scary situation. Sometimes we see a number of fires that occur along a road. And sometimes that's caused from agriculture equipment. Maybe someone's trailer is dragging a chain. Sometimes a bearing comes out of an axle or something. But just the fact that where these fires were set, they were all set, and they were all, I should say the origin of these fires was in grass fuels. I'm not 100% sure that these fires are of fire setting or arson caused, but that is what I listed on my fire reports, because I don't have any other reason to believe that something else caused these. Due to the fact that they all occurred on the north ditch in the same fuel type on the same day on 2 different roads. The odds of that are of anything else causing these fires was pretty much ruled out. So, but the fire departments did a great job of getting these out before they reached the fuels. The brown on this map, obviously this is a satellite photo, is grass, mainly grass fuels, like 1 foot grass to 3 foot grass, what we call our type 1 and type 3 fuels. And then everything green on here, of course, is a lot of your pines, a lot of your forest type. So a little concerning to me, when I went out and looked at these fires, I looked at some of them, they were small, and I thought, well, that's not too bad, right? It's just a small fire in the grass. But when you look at it on a big scale, and you start looking at the housing developments and the other values at risk and life at risk for these fires, it definitely is something that is concerning to me and concerning to the people that live in the Calhoun State Forest area. So we'll keep an eye on these. Like I said, the fire chiefs in the area are well aware of them, and it's something that we definitely want to watch in the future. This is just an example of one of the fires. So this is one of the fires on the Kettle Moraine State Forest Southern Unit off a Young Road. We actually walk the perimeter of a fire with a GPS unit, and we map every fire to the 1/100th of an acre. So we do a pretty intense investigation on the fires. So you may see a black spot in the woods and think nothing of it, but Nick and I really want to know this stuff. In fact, I was driving on Bluff, I forget what the name of the road is. I saw some different colored grass. And that was a forest fire. I know it was, because the grass was different color. But the fire probably occurred a month before. But we have an eye for that. We're always looking for fires, even if they occurred like a month before. So we do map that stuff. We do chart it, and we're aware of the situation with burning. Some of our equipment that we use, that we have available to us. So we don't have ranger stations in southeast Wisconsin. So I can't just call and get a bulldozer at a fire in 5 minutes, but we can get them. It just might take 2 hours and 5 minutes. So it just depends on how big the fire is going to be. For example, the Jefferson Marsh fire, we had a lot of equipment there. We brought equipment we had people from Wisconsin Dells, we had a bulldozer from Horicon, low ground units. If we need to get equipment to these fires, we can get it to the fires, even though we're not in a fire protection area for the DNR. We have type 4 engines that pull our bulldozers. We call those heavy units. We have our type 6, 7, and 8 engines, which are basically like 1-ton pickup trucks that hold anywhere from 150 to 300 gallons of water, which Nick and I normally drive. And then, of course, we cooperate with DNR Wildlife and our natural heritage crews. They have a lot of off-road equipment, so we can get into marshes. We have equipment that even floats. So we have bombardier units here for low ground. And this is just an example here of what we would use if we had a marsh fire like we used in the Jefferson Marsh. So one thing I always say is it's important, if you're the operator of this or this, you need to know which one floats. Very important. Don't take this one here. This one's not good on land, but this one definitely doesn't float. You're going to find that out in a hurry. So what gives us authority? So obviously, when there's a fire departments, Palmyra, they have the authority to go and fight a fire. And so does the DNR. So even though we don't have ranger stations here, we have a state statute that pretty much gives us permission to go onto property to fight a fire. Just like if someone is committing a crime, the police have the right to go onto property to take care of that crime. So Chapter 26 gives us that authority to go on private land to fight fires. That is in all of the state of Wisconsin. Another statute we have is that the responsible person pays for suppression costs. So that is, we try to get that word out to people when they're debris burning. We say, yeah, you can burn that brush pile if you want to, but if that brush pile turns into a forest fire and that forest fire costs $10,000 for us to put out, you get the bill. You just got a $10,000 fire suppression bill. So that is we try to use that tool for people to find other ways, like especially with burning garbage. There's garbage collection, garbage pickup at every address in the state of Wisconsin. Sometimes you have to take it into the dump. Yeah, sometimes they don't come to your curb, but it doesn't pay to burn your garbage in a barrel when we have obviously sealed landfills that can take care of that stuff. Another statute that applies to forest fires is the responsible party is liable up to double damages from the fire and maybe up to quadruple damages plus attorney costs. So if your neighbor is being stupid and they start a forest fire and it burns up your house or it burns up your forest and all that stuff, you can actually go after them for double the damages of forest products. Because trees grow, because they have to pay you not only for what the damage to the trees was, but double. Because we can't plant 60-year-old red pine trees. We get little baby trees, so that's why that statute was created. That's my short and sweet presentation. I could go on for hours, but I think you guys are going to die of heat stroke if we don't hand waters out pretty soon. Winona asked me to come to talk about, really like an open format to talk about issues in your community, because I know some of you live like in pine plantations, is that correct? Or you live in areas that may have some more volatile fuels. And that's what we see in some of our other fire landscapes in the state where we lost structures. There's a number of things you can do.